Aleph. If one says I'm a Nazir from dried figs or from pressed figs, Beit Shammai says he is a Nazir. But Beit Hillel says he is not a Nazir. The Yehuda said even if what Beit Shammai said, they did not accept it for one who says they are for me a sacrifice. If he said, this cow said, I am a Nazir if I stand up, or this door said, I am a Nazir if I open, Beit Shammai says he is a Nazir. Beit Hillel says he is not a Nazir. If Yehuda said, even what Beit Shammai said, they did not say except for one who says, this cow is for me a sacrifice if it stands up. They poured a cup for him, and he said, I am a Nazir from it. He is a Nazir. It once happened that with a certain woman who was inebriated, that they poured a cup for her, and she said, I am a Nazir from it. The sage said she did not intend other than to say, it is for me like a sacrifice. Okay.
Okay. Hareini Nazir almanas she'ehei shose yain u'metame l'meisim. So he tries to make a condition on his Naziris. He says, I'm a Nazir, but I'll deny that I'll be allowed to drink wine or I'll be allowed to become Tameh. Okay, so the answer is he is a Nazir and he is Asr and everything. We break his statement into two things. One where he says, I'm a Nazir, but I will be allowed to whatever. And the but part, we look at and say, okay, you're trying to make a Tanai on what's written in the Torah, and that doesn't work. You can't do that. Okay. Um, Yodea ani sheyesh nazir. So guy says, yeah, I know that that there's a concept of naziris, but when I took on to be a nazir, about any yodea shehan nazir asur bayayin. I thought the thing about the nazir was just about growing the hair and not becoming tamei. I didn't realize he wasn't allowed to drink wine. Okay. Hareze asur v'Rabbi Shimon matir. So says the Tanakama that's a problem in your knowledge and you made yourself a Nazir and everyone knows what a Nazir is and therefore it's too bad. Okay.
Mhm.
But Rabbi Shimon says no, if it was a Taos. He thought that a Nazir was something other than it was, and he's not. He didn't take it on under the full understanding of what he was doing, and therefore it was a Mekach Taos, and therefore his Naziris is entirely batal. Yodeh ani Nazir asr b'yayin. I knew the halachas of the Nazir, but okay. About savar hayisi shechachamim matirim li mipnei she'en ani yachol lichios ela b'yayin. So it's part of my. I thought for sure that there would be matir that aspect of Naziris to me because I just need the wine. And I'm not sure what kind of guy this is. Um,
Right.
Okay, but a more realistic case is here. Listen, I work for the Chevra Kadisha. He says, like this is what I do for a living. Is I bury the dead. How am I going to get by without being mitame l'meisim? The other stuff I can deal with. And I thought, and Hareze Mutar says the Tanakama. His entire Nazirus is absolved. Whereas Rabbi Shimon now flips position and says, no, that's not gonna work. You can't you got to if you want to get rid of it, you got to ask a Shalas Chacham in order to get rid of it. You can't just say, oh well, it fell away. So why does the Tanakhama say that it's mutar? Um, because he um because this is like one of the it's like a nidre onsim where he made a neder and an honest came and is preventing him from keeping the neder. Um, okay, so he doesn't even need a shanas chacham according to that principle. All right, Mishnah Hey, Hareini Nazir. But alai legalech Nazir. It says, I'm going to be a Nazir, and what's more, I'm also going to pay for the korbanos of completion of term of another Nazir. That's when we say legalech Nazir. It's not that he's literally going to go and shave the Nazir. It's that he's going to pay for his korbanos. That's the expression. When it says well, legalech Nazir, it's I'm going to pay for all of his korbanos. Shama Chavero, his friend heard him and said, oh, Va'ani, Va'alai legalech Nazir. He says, I'll take on the same thing. I'm also going to be a Nazir, same as you, and I'll pay for another Nazir to bring his korbanos. So, im hayu pikchim, so if they're smart guys, megalchim zeh zeh, then they'll pay for each other's korbanos. Okay, and that's totally legit. Imlav migalchim nazirim acherim, and if they don't realize that this is a possibility, then yeah, then they will have to pay for some other nazir's korbanos. Harei alai legalech chatzi nazir. Guy says, okay, I'm going to pay. I'm going to shave half of a nazir. What does that expression mean? V'shama chaveru v'amar v'ani alai legalech chatzi nazir. And he says the same thing. He says, yeah, I'm also going to shave half of a nazir. Okay, so what do you do with that? Zeh megalech nazir shalem v'zeh megalech nazir shalem divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says, what have you done? You've undertaken to bring the korbanos of another nazir. You can't bring half the korbanos of another nazir. You've got to bring all the korbanos. Chachamim omrim, no, you're reading it wrong. He's not saying I want to bring the korbanos. He's saying I want to give half of the expenses, and that's fine. So let him pay for half of the expenses. He's not literally saying I'm going to actually bring the korbanos, because if he's doing that, then yes, though that's a unitary thing, and you can't take half measures. Either you're bringing the korbanos or you're not bringing the korbanos. But when he's saying I'm taking on a monetary obligation, then sure you can take half of it. Okay. Back to Yud Zion.
Johnny. In what? In
Nadarim. Nadarim.
oh, Darm. You didn't say the Darm, so I'm
Sorry.
looking like
Sorry.
okay. You're Zion. Okay. Um, one who says to his wife, well, then the dorm which you shall make from now until I return from such and such a place are confirmed. And he said nothing. But if he says they shall be revoked, Rabbi Eliezer says they are revoked. The sages, however, say they are not revoked. It says Eliezer, if he cannot revoke the dorm which are already binding, should he not be able to revoke the dorm which are not yet binding? They said to him, it says her husband confirm it and her husband can revoke it. That which can be confirmed can be revoked. That which cannot be confirmed cannot be revoked. Revocation of the dorm is valid the entire day. The fact that can be lenient or stringent. How? If she made a neder on the night of Shabbos, he can revoke it during the night of Shabbos, or on the Sabbath day before nightfall. If he vowed just before dark, he must revoke it before nightfall, for it became dark and he had not revoked it. He can no longer revoke it. They're in a dorm that he can revoke. Those that involve self-denials, if I bathe or if I do not bathe, if I adore myself or I do not adore myself, Rabbi Yossi says these are not the dorm of self-denial.
Okay. Subos.
Okay, we have Yud Beit space. If she marries, the husband provides her with sustenance, and they give her the right of value of sustenance. If they die, their daughter is supported from unencumbered property, but he is supported even from assigned property, since she is like a creditor. The clever would write on the condition that I support your daughter for 5 years as long as you are with me. If a widow says, I do not wish to move from my husband's house, the heirs cannot say to her, go to your father's house and we will support you. Rather, they must support her in her husband's house and they give her a residence according to her honor. If she says, I do wish to move my father's house, the heirs may say to her, if you are with us, you have sustenance. But if you're not with us, you will have no sustenance. If she claims that it is because she is young and they are young, they must support her while she is in her father's house. As long as she is in her father's house, she can collect a ketubah forever. As long as she is in her husband's house, she can collect a ketubah until the end of 25 years. For in 25 years, she has the opportunity to do favors, kusparas, binding to the amount of the ketubah. These are the words of Meah, which he stated in the name of Rabbi Gamliel. The sages, however, say as long as she is in her husband's house, she may collect a ketubah forever. As long as she is in her father's house, she may collect a ketubah until the end of 25 years. If she dies, her heirs may claim a ketubah until the end of 25 years. Okay.
Yeah.
We are on to Moa Cotton. Moa Cotton, here we go. Olive Gimel. Eliezer ben Yaakov says one may divert water from one tree to another, provided that by doing so one does not water for the entire field. Fields that were not watered before the festival might not be watered during Kol Moed, and the sages, however, permit watering in both cases. We may trap moles and mice in an orchard or in a grain field in the usual manner during Kol Moed and during Shemitah. The sages, however, say in the orchard we may trap in the usual manner, but in the grain field we may do so only in an unusual manner. We may block up or breach during Kol Moed, but during Shemitah we may build it up in the usual manner. Reb Meir says we may examine the Gayim for the first time in order to render a lenient verdict, but not to render a stringent one. The Chachamim say we may not examine the Negab whether for a lenient or a stringent verdict. Meir also said a person may gather his father's and mother's bones for burial as the source of joy for him. Reb Yossi says it's a source of mourning for him. A person may not inspire lamentations for his relatives nor utilize utilized during the 30 days preceding a festival.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Orla. Orla.
Well, let's do the last mission in Chala first.
Kala first. Okay, wait. Place. Okay. Kala. Okay. I'll Ben Antinios brought up the first things from Babylon, but they did not accept from them from him. Yosef the priest brought Bakurim of wine and oil, but did not accept from them from him. He also took up his sons and the members of the household to make the mine of Pesach in order in Yerushalayim, but they turned him back. Thus he established himself as obligatory. Arasad brought this Bakurim from Pama, and they accepted from him because they said one who buys in Syria is like one who buys in the suburb of Yerushalayim. Okay,
Okay, Orla.
Orla. Orla Aleph Aleph. If one plans for a fence or for beams, he is exempt from Orla. Rabbi Yossi says even if he said the inner side for food and the outer side for the fence, the inner side is liable and the outer side is exempt. When our forefathers entered the land they had found planted, it was exempt. If they planted although they had not reconquered, it is liable. If one plants for the public, it is liable. Rabbi Yehuda exempts. If one plants in the public domain, or if a non-Jew planted, or if a robber planted, or if one planted on a ship, or a guru itself, he is liable to Orla.
Okay.
If
That's
it,
it. No, we only do. Yeah.
that's it. Okay. And we now to Nagayim. Yud, what's this? Yud Aleph. If a Mitzorah enters the house, all the utensils that are there become tummy, even up to the ceiling beams. Reb Shimon says to the height of 4 cubits. The utensils become tummy immediately, and Rabbi Yehuda says if you remain long enough to kindle a lamp. If a Mitzorah enters the synagogue, a partition is made for him 10 breadths high, and for an area 4 cubits wide, he enters first and leaves last. Anything that required a fastened cover to curtail tumor in the tent of a corpse requires a fastened cover to curtail tumor in an afflicted house. And anything that requires over a covering to curtail tumor in the tent of a corpse requires only a covering to curtail tumor in an afflicted house. These are the words of Meah. Rabbi Yossi says anything that requires a fastened cover to curtail tumor in the tent of a corpse requires only a covering to curtail tumor in an afflicted house, and anything that requires a covering to curtail tumor in the tent of a corpse is tahor in an afflicted house, even if it is uncovered. How do we make a Mitzorah tahor? He brings new earthenware pitcher, place it in a quarter of a log of living water, and brings 2 wild birds. The Kohen slaughters one of them over the earthenware vessel into the living water, digs a hole and buries the bird in front of the Mitzorah. He takes cedar wood, eitzov, and red wool, and binds them together with the end of the wool. Then the Kohen brings the tips of the wings and the tip of the tail of the second bird near the cedar wood, eitzov, and red wool, dips and sprinkles them 7 times in the back of the Mitzorah's hand, some say on his forehead, and so too would the Kohen sprinkle on the outside of the lintel of an afflicted house. He then comes to send away the living bird.
That's it. We're done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And Hariah.
One more. Harias. Oh, wait, no, I did the wrong thing. Harias. Give me a second. I put it in the wrong thing. Harias. Where is it? Can't be right. Harias. Okay. It should be Aleph. Okay.
Aleph Daled.
Dalet, sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay. If the court ruled when one of them knew that they had erred, and he said to them, "You are mistaken," or if the court most distinguished member of the court said was not there, or was not there, or if one of them was a convert or a mamzer or a Nisanite or an elder who never had saw for his children, they are exempt. Where it says each edda, and it says further on edda. If the court ruled and all the people, or most of them, acted on the words, they bring a bull, and for idolatry, they bring a bull and a goat. These are the words of Rav Meir. Rav Yehuda says 12 tribes bring 12 bulls for idolatry and bring 12 bulls and 12 goats. Rav Shimon says 13 bulls for idolatry, 13 bulls and 13 goats, a bull and a goat for each tribe, and a bull and a goat for the court. If the court ruled and 7 tribes acted, or most of them on their word, they bring a bull for the idolatry and bring a bull and a goat. These are the words of Rav Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says 7 tribes that sinned bring 7 bulls, and the rest of the tribes that did not sin bring a bull because of them. For even those who did not sin because of those who sinned. Rabbi Shimon says 8 bulls for idolatry, 8 bulls and 8 goats, a bull and a goat for each tribe, and a bull and a goat for the court. If the court of one of the tribes ruled that the tribe acted on the word, the tribe is liable, but the rest of the tribes are exempt. And these are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. But the comments say they are not liable except for the ruling of the high court, as it is said, if the whole assembly of Israel errs, not the assembly of the tribe. And if the anointed Kohen ruled permissibly for himself, if he ruled inadvertently and he acted inadvertently, he brings a bull. But if he ruled inadvertently and acted willfully, or if he ruled willfully and acted inadvertently, he's exempt. Because the ruling of the anointed Kohen for himself is like the ruling of the court for the community.
Okay, that's it.
I can't believe we got through all that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, Shavua Tov, have a good week.
Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow at the same. Thank you. Bye.